Hello everyone. We are group number 15 of CSE 535 mobile computing, and today we are going to demonstrate our project, which is mobile offloading. With this project, we developed a distributed computing infrastructure based on mobile phones connected via Bluetooth. Our design comprises a master mobile application installed on one phone and slave mobile application installed on multiple phones, and we implement the task of matrix multiplication where we distribute the computational task on different slave mobile application and recombine all the parts to form the resultant matrix in the master mobile application. So to demonstrate this project, we are using two mobile phones, where one acts as master and another acts as a slave. Both the slave nodes and master nodes are set up such that they communicate with each other via Bluetooth socket. In this architecture, master acts as a server using Bluetooth server socket, and all slaves acts as clients communicating with Bluetooth client socket. The slave node is open for Bluetooth channel for the connection. The master sends the Bluetooth request to slave. Then the slave accepts the request and gets connected. Now we'll check how that happens. What you can see is the mobile offloading master on the left-hand side and the mobile offloading slave on the right-hand side. Now, when we turn on the Bluetooth connection on the master and we'll check when we click on show device list, we can see the available list of mobile phones that were open for connection. Now we have to select the appropriate slave devices which are visible, and here a suitable slave device is set up connection, that is the OnePlus Vishnu. And now, as soon as the new connection is made, the slave sends battery information to the master, and the master evaluates according to the criteria and sends back a request to the distributed computing to the slaves which met the criteria. The criteria here is the distance between the master and slave should be less than 100 meters, and the battery level should be greater than the 25%. The battery level of the slave should be greater than 25%. The master selects the device as a slave and sends the request to all slaves which satisfy the constraints to participate in the distributed computing. So once the connection has been set up, here both cases were satisfied, so the battery details has been shared and accepted by the master. And the master evaluates the criteria and sends back the distribution computing to the slaves which met the criteria. Here, both cases were satisfied, so the battery details have been shared and accepted by the master, which you can check. The master can check the battery status of slaves at any time. Master will periodically monitor the slave node presence. In our project, the master checks the status of the slave every 3 seconds. This check is a way to ensure whether the slave is dead or alive. Now, let's perform the distributed computational operation. Let's initialize a matrix. In this project, we develop a distributed computational infrastructure which performs matrix multiplication. Now we'll initialize the matrix. Here we have two options, which is compute on slave and compute on master. If we click on compute on slave, the matrix which is initialized above will perform the computation on the slave. And when you click on computation on master, the corresponding computation will take place on master mobile application. Here, you can clearly see the power consumed without distributed computation is 69.548 mAh, and the power consumed by distributed computation is 71.847 mAh. And in the mobile offloading, in the slave mobile offloading infrastructure, The time taken to execute this task is 264,3385 nanoseconds. When you click on compute on master with a different matrix initialization, you will have different power consumed on with and without distributed computation. Our results displayed a sharp reduction in execution time while using the distributed infrastructure and also led to reduced power consumption. Now we can perform this. Now we can perform a different computational task by initializing different matrices by clicking on initialize matrix. And the corresponding time taken to execute that operation on slave mobile application is visible on the top portion of the slave application, which is on the right side of this. Thank you so much. This shows our demonstration for mobile offloading. And have a nice day.